Good evening. Good evening to you all that are tuning in. I want to thank all of you and welcome to. I know it's been a long time that we haven't been able to talk. I want to thank all of you that are tuning in and how you doing? One thing I want to thank is if you can just briefly write where you joining me live just below. That helps me to review where all our viewers are coming from. If you're from the great state of Texas, just indicate below. Uh, if you're from elsewhere in the United States, thank you, just indicate below. If you are in Europe, if you are in Ground Zero, if you are in Nigeria, South Africa, elsewhere, just briefly indicate below. I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuning in this evening. I know, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you. And remember that I am also broadcast live on my YouTube. On my YouTube, it's called Transparency Media International. And so I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuning in for this very important announcement that I will be making and moving forward. Thank you, bro, from Germany. Thank you from Germany. That's wonderful. I know I thought all those in Europe would probably be sleeping now because of the time differences. Stop. Oh, that's wonderful. I know. I thought you guys in Europe would probably be sleeping because of the late hours and the time. But anyway, we are able to get in touch with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And can you also help to share the information? One thing I want to talk about. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh my God, from Istanbul, that's really wonderful. It's amazing how all of us are all widely scattered. But one thing is certain is that of all of us to liberate Southern Cameroon and Amazonia. That is our goal, that is our ultimate, that is the end game. And we must prevail. We must prevail. I want to tell all of us that this is not a mistake. We have been maltreated. We have been destroyed. But this is the moment that belongs to all of us. It doesn't matter whether you're in the United States. It doesn't matter whether you're in Europe. It doesn't matter whether you're in Turkey. It doesn't matter whether you're in Ground Zero. Collectively, our spirit is stronger than ever before. We may have some differences. We may have some differences among us, but I can assure you that our end goal is to liberate our people from enslavement. So I can assure you this is the spirit that we all hold dearly from the Southern Cameroon and Amazonia. So we will have, all of us are all ambassadors to all of us in the diaspora, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in South Africa, whether you're in the United States, elsewhere, we hold dearly. We all represent Southern Cameroon and Amazonia. We don't have to be self-appointed, but all of us delegate ourselves for the common good of the people of Southern Cameroon. Because if we come together as a strong and one dynamic spirit, there is nobody that can destroy us. So I can assure you, believe me, take note. But we have a lot to talk about. And first of all, I want to thank of you for the embargo that was imposed upon me 30 days ago. But that did not kill the spirit, but it ignited the spirit. And so we are more stronger than ever before. We may have some disagreement. That disagreement will not derail our spirit of togetherness. We stay strong. Thank all of you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. But there is one thing, my sincere thanks if we have any Ambazonian defense in ground zero that may be probably with us. But I want to thank the bottom of my heart that we are strong and that we prevail. I want to thank the Ambazonian defense in ground zero. We want to take them very, very seriously. We want to honor them. We want to respect them. We want to appreciate them because the job they do is what the spirit that we ignite. Ultimately, they are the one to execute those actions. And so therefore, our sincere love and our dedicated spirit is for the Ambazonian defense system. It doesn't matter whether you are what this thing, but what I am speaking is collaborations. Because it doesn't matter, collaborations will ultimately lead to a rapid victory. And disgruntledness will not result to any victory. So I am here to remind the fellow citizens of these great nations. First, I know many of my fellow citizens and our brothers in this great nation, the United States. I want to thank the U.S. Department of Defense. I want to thank the U.S. Department of Africa. I want to thank U.S. State Department. I want to thank the president of these great nations. But many of American citizens are not aware of what is going on in Southern Cameroon. They may be wondering what is going on. But I am here to let the fellow American citizens of these great nations that there is a cold war that is going on in my country, in my Southern Cameroon, in where I was born. And I am bringing this attention to the world community to understand that there is a war going on in Southern Cameroon. That war was declared by a nation that is foreign to our people. The fact that we choose to live together with La République du Cameroun doesn't give them the spirit and to control our way of life. We came together over equal partners, but over the due course of time, they have regarded us more of a colonial territory. But I am here to announce that the people of Southern Cameroon is never a conquered territory. The people of Southern Cameroon was never a colonial territory of the neighboring country, La République du Cameroun. La République is a colonial territory of France. Southern Cameroon is a colonial territory of Great Britain. Although the Great Britain has paid a blind eye as though nothing is happening, but I am here to remind the world and the British as a whole that our people deserve the right to liberty, the right to freedom, and the right to pursue their happiness. That is the American liberation word that I borrowed. But I am here to remind the people of these great nations that we, the people of Southern Cameroon, must prevail. We cannot. If the United States, some 200 years ago, stood and said no to Great Britain, so too do we stand today and denounce La République that we can rule ourselves. We don't need colonial to impose upon the people of Southern Cameroon and tell us how we should be governed, because we are educated. We are intelligent. We are a special species of human being, and therefore we must be able to govern ourselves. We cannot in any circumstances be dictated by a foreign nation, La République du Cameroon, how we should be govern ourselves. So I am here to remind the world community that they need to think before they impose upon a foreign nation on behalf of our people, because we are educated, we are intelligent, we have the knowledge, we know what form of government can and cannot exist, and therefore we join the rest of the world that they should come and recognize the people of Southern Cameroon as the people that is capable to be able to govern themselves. We remind the United States, we are not a conquered territory, we are not a colonial territory. And one thing again I want to talk about specifically to Kumba, fellow citizens, if we can take 24 hours and pick the person that the great Kumba, the most mighty Kumba, to tell them that Al-Qaeda, we all remember this colonial divisional officer, is called Saffo Roger. I am here to remind the Amber defense system that a colonial governor or colonial divisional whatever administrator cannot have a power over the people of Southern Cameroon. The people of Southern Cameroon have the power to decide their destiny. And therefore, this is my message to those coming this evening. You make sure you forward it to those of the Amazonian defense system that the colonial governor has no power in Southern Cameroon. The colonial governor, not only just in Southern Cameroon, in Kumba, but elsewhere. It seems they think they can control us. But I am here to remind the Amazonian that any divisional officer, anyone appointed by La Republic, and therefore I am asking all the Amazonians that are working in any area, any technological know-how, to bring their ideas so that we put that ideas into perspective, and then we face the neighboring country, La Republic, terrorists that is currently persistent in Southern Cameroon. If you are a Southern Cameroon, if you are working in anywhere there is technology that has to do with the defense of Southern Cameroon, you need to come to this table so that we build those technology. It's human that is capable. It's human technology. It's human knowledge. And we are capable. And some of us are able and are working in those high-level defense systems throughout this planet. But this is the moment that we have to defend our own motherland from a terrorist of La Republic de Cameroon. And so therefore, if you know you have those skills, then you need to bring those ideas, those skills, let's put it into practice. Let's test for reliability for La Republic. That is what I am bringing here. We have got enough of La Republic. They cannot. Any nation fought for their own victory. United States in some 200 years ago stood against Great Britain. And so too China. Whether it's China or whatever. They're fighting against the Chinese dominance. So too we are not exceptions. We are not exceptions. We are not. There is this clear distinction between the people of Southern Cameroon and the Biafra. There is a clear distinction between the people of Southern Cameroon and the Biafra. When La Republic tabled their document under the administrative of France to the United Nations, Southern Cameroon was not part of that document. And so too, if Southern Cameroon was tabled, La Republic was not part of the document. And therefore, the sons and citizens of Southern Cameroon has the right and privilege over their territory and nothing else. So those colonial divisional officers, the so-called, I gave them 72 hours to leave Southern Cameroon completely. Amazonia, if we take 24 hours to capture a driver that's turned to join La Republic, then it shouldn't take us 24 hours to pick up the divisional officer. We are capable at this moment, and the way I have evaluated, we are capable to pick him wherever he is. We have the topography of our land, and a foreign individual cannot come and dictate to us how we should be governed. Yes, a foreign individual cannot come and tell us how we should be governed. We all should decide the future and the destination of the people of Southern Cameroon. And that is why I am reminding international community, because they pay a deaf ear, as though because it is a more of a corrupted system. This world is made up of a corrupt system. The United Nations is the most corrupted system here in the United States. It's not elsewhere. The United Nations is physically here in the United States. And I can imagine that the most corrupt system is physically here in the United States, despite the fact that the government of these great nations is the most amazing one that you have on the planet. But yet, they have the offices of the corrupted system here in the United States, in New York. And it's being led by a European, because they are the architects that caused this controversial action in Africa as a whole. But we must be a conquerors. We shall overcome. This is what is happening in Southern Cameroon. This is Kumba. These are citizens of Southern Cameroon that recently killed. Before I dive into that, do you all view that there was a discrepancy in the military tribunal, the way they treat the Francophone whom they claimed have Professor Maurice Kamto? You all know Professor Maurice Kamto, whom they claim that they have violated whatever the so-called, that is La Republique. But you all view the way they were being treated in the court. They were allowed access to the court more than they allowed access to the court on the citizens of Southern Cameroon. But I am here to remind the Southern Cameroon that no matter whatever they think that we gonna live together, I can assure you that we cannot in any circumstances live together with La Republique. Because if you see the abuse system, of course, you all recently watched when members of the Professor Maurice Kamto were brought to the judicial system. They were allowed access to the court. But meanwhile, when it comes to the people of Southern Cameroon, they were restricted not to have even access. So that is clear distinction between that. We must remind us that we are self-governed people and that we cannot function in La Republique. And I am reminding the world community, our people cannot function in La Republique, in absolutely. But I also want to remind the U.S. Undersecretary for African Affairs that his wrong misconception or his wrong argument that Southern Cameroon believe in Camerooners. I am here to remind the Undersecretary for African Affairs that we in particular do not in any circumstances will one day appreciate that we believe that we have a Cameroon spirit in our system. We denounce them and I denounce them and all of us denounce them, and we cannot. You watch. It was a jubilating harmony in La Republique military as compared to the citizens of Southern Cameroon in the same military. And that is why I am reminding you that Amazonian defense, that take care of the what business you are already doing. You are doing a fantastic job. You are doing a fantastic job, but I urge you to do some form of collaborations when it comes to this thing, because that is how we're going to function, collaborations. Fighting against one another doesn't lead us into anywhere, but it degrades us, provide an ample opportunity for our enemy. But I am assuring you that if we stay together firmly, united, have good unity, then our victory shall overcome. We know that we have already spilled blood. We have reached a point where we don't have no return, but we must stay fast, dedicated, and victory is on the way. I can assure you, victory is on the way. On the issues of whether resumption of school, do La Republique believe that they love children? They love children more than we do. They love our home more than we do. Of course, do they love our children more than we do our parents? We are fighting because of colonialism. We're fighting because we don't have liberty. We're fighting because our people have been degraded. We're fighting because they regard us as enemy and emigres. They look upon us as emigres. They don't look upon us as family. You can see from what happened in the judicial system. You saw the way they were treating Professor Maurice Kamto's members, and as compared to how they treat our own people. And that is why, to remind the world that we cannot in any circumstances perceive ourselves that we can work together with La Republic, and La Republic should stay on their own and let us go. Let us go. Let us go. Let us go. That's our brother that recently been killed by La Republic. I'm sure you're getting the, if you can't hear the sound, but I apologize for that. But that is the announcement that is going on. In Moyoka. They were killed in Moyoka. These our fellow brothers that are deliberately killed by La Republic military. Just imagine that our brothers are being killed, children being killed, and are being buried without any distinctive honor, because we have to live by default with a foreign nations. We cannot, we don't have to live by default with La Republic. But I am here to remind the United States, the African, that our people have got enough of La Republic, and we want to be recognized our own sovereignty. Give me 1 minute, please. You know, let's look. You all see this. I mean, you all have all seen this. This is what is going on in Southern Cameroon territory. For those in the diaspora and those international community. This is a landmine that you all learn about the United States. The United States got experience with a landmine in Iraq. This is the nations that purportedly believe that they are supposed to live together with the people of Southern Cameroon. But that is the same military that is setting up landmine in Southern Cameroon territory. And that is La Republic military, the BR. You can see them physically setting up landmine in Southern Cameroon. This is the disturbing things that I am bringing this attention, not only to the citizens of these great nations, but to the world community at large. This is something that maybe you may have seen it being spread out on the internet or on Facebook, YouTube, and elsewhere. But this is fiscally formed, that I am bringing this to not only to the people of these great, wonderful nations, but I'm bringing it to the world to understand the magnitude and the crisis that is going on in Southern Cameroon territory when the neighboring country, La République du Cameroon, is setting up landmine for the citizens of Southern Cameroon to be able to be trapped. And that is why we cannot, in any circumstances, we tolerate this behavior, and that we can choose to live together with them in the same nation, in the same platform, on the same bed, and believe that we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to recognize our people as a distinctive sovereign nation that have the right to freedom, the right to liberty, and the right to exist as people. But I am here to remind the United States to do the right thing and take on his own responsibility. This is not just by word that the United States spread about relationship with Africa. It's by the action the United States take that ultimately affect the people that they value. Because this is ultimately what the people look upon the United States to take drastic action. And therefore, I am asking the AFRICOM that United States provide necessary assistance to these nations, La République du Cameroon, against the Boko Haram. But this is the moment that the people of Africa, we want to see a sound judgment made by the U.S. Department of Defense against this rubbish. You can see that's landmine they are setting up in southern Cameroon. It's not different truth, but La République military in our own territory. I am here a citizen of this great nation. I participate in this nation building. I contribute to this nation building. But when I take a look at what is happening in my own place that I was born, and I believe that I am here in this great nation, and that I cannot in any circumstances tolerate this behavior. I cannot. And neither do anyone will tolerate. But therefore, we are asking the United States Department of Defense. We want the United States to acknowledge the truth that our people we don't need to stay together with La République. And that is why I am bringing this. Our people want to be left go. That is all. They want to be let go. We don't have to live with La République. And La République doesn't have to live with us either. Why must we have to live with them? What are the benefits that we have when they talk about economic advantages from living together? We don't believe that we should have any economic advantage, that we must live together with La République. And that is why we are letting the world to understand our concern, our voice, and our... You can see the powder that are being set up by the military that we claim that they have relationship with Southern Cameroon. When this same military is setting up a landmine for our own people, we are physically here in the United States, and you expect us to fall in love when La République is setting up landmine against our own brothers that we thought we send money at home, we send food at home, and at the same time, a useless military of La République is setting landmine to kill our own family while theirs are in Yaoundé and nothing happened to them because we have a forest that they must harvest. But I am here to remind the world, I am here to speak here in the United States and from here to the great state of Texas, that our people deserve their own sovereignty, that they must be able to govern with that cohesion. Because when you see a military setting up landmine against your own mother, your parents, your children, your sister, your relative, it is absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. That is La République military. You see all the configuration of their military uniforms, setting up landmine intentionally, deliberately in Southern Cameroon. We don't need to live with La République. We need to be left alone. We need to be able to govern ourselves. We need to be able to govern ourselves. You can watch. That's just at the roadside. Just at the roadside. Just at the roadside, you can see setting up landmine for our people, and I live here in the United States, and the United States want to convince us that we are more better off to live with La République that are setting up landmine for our own people that we love dearly. And they are setting up landmine and believe that we should be able to live together with them. But I am here to let the United States government to understand our serious concern that our spirit, we do not have to live together with La République. We don't. We don't have to. Let them move on their life and let our people move on with our own life. And then let them stay. We don't have to live with them. We don't have to. We don't have to live with them. That is a landmark that's been set up by a nation. We believe that we have a relationship with them. But I am here to remind the United States government that we do not feel we have a relationship with our public. Because even if a woman is married, they have the right, the freedom to divorce. If the United States authorizes that women married have the right to separate, then we should be able to separate peacefully. If Great Britain is able to asking to divorce, that there was not even a single gunshot fire, no single Great Britain citizen has ever feel that they are being marginalized despite every opportunity. UK did not give out its pound system. UK maintained its pound system despite the fact they claim that they have a union with the European Union. But yet, they still believe that there's something wrong with living together. So if Britain can believe that something is wrong living together with European Union, therefore we are not exception. We believe that there's something wrong with our republic and that we can, in any circumstances, live together with them. And that is why I am bringing this attention to the U.S. government. I know the U.S. has an ambassador in that neighboring country. But how can we move forward if the United States can be judiciously recognize our people? That is all the United States has to do. Recognize them. If the United States can recognize Israel, can recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, then it should be able to recognize our people, their own choice, what they want. It's not about how you impose, it's about the people that are willing, they are receptive to be able to accept those they claim to be. If our people doesn't be receptive, then you can impose them upon the people of our southern Cameroon. We don't. Before I dive back again, fellow brothers and food items were taken from Kumba. Food items were taken by the divisional officer, the colonial divisional officer. Who is that? They call Saffo Roger. Roger, you can know that those names don't even come to Southern Cameroon. Although we have been having intermarriages, that we will able to have those names they call Roger. We don't unnaturally accept Roger as part of the Anglo-Saxon way of name system. But however, we have one. Every entire Southern Cameroon is being controlled by the Francophone, as though we never seen the four walls of education. We haven't seen the four walls of education, and that we have been imposed upon their colonial divisional officers, governors, and every aspect to our own social life. Fellow brothers and ambassador defense system. I think it's a plan to make a coordination effort. A plan and a coordination effort. Because when we start taking them one after another, that's the beginning of them moving back to their own land. We all know that the governor, the one of Southwest, is now residing in Douala. But unfortunately, he's moving back and forth. But if we start setting up example, and we start giving them time frame, and we start taking them off the map of Southern Cameroon, that is the way we can do. That is the way we can move forward. Yes, if we start taking them out of, keep them in different form and send them back to La Republique, because if we start sending them in a different form back to La Republique, then that will begin to experience, because since they still believe that they are capable, if we can take up a gendarmerie camp, if we can take up anything, what about a single divisional officer that claimed to this? We are capable, we have the ability at this moment that I'm speaking. We have the ability. The world will not come to our rescue, but we have to rescue ourselves. They will only come to the table. They will only come to the table after the victory has been conquered. They will only come to the table after the victory has been announced. But at this moment that we are fighting for survival, the international community are silent. They are silent. They are watching through their windows and see what happened next. But since we have maintained this consistency for this period of 3 years, then we can do more. We can do more. But if we start render them out of our map in different format, package them and return back to La Republic, then that is when the world community will come to. But if we start neglecting them, no, we are not going to go this way. We are going to take them, package them, send in different format back to La Republic. Then that is when they will realize that the time is not on the side. Fellow brothers and sisters, we are at war. Germany fought a similar war against France, against Austria, against the Danish. Other nations fought for their liberations. So we too must fight for our own liberation, because we don't expect our liberation to come free, because we have used a symbol that let's talk to you as a gentleman. But unfortunately, gentleman doesn't work. And so therefore we need to take another action. Then package them in different form, return them back to La Republic in a different form. So once we start packaging La Republic in different format and return them back to La Republic, then they will understand that we mean business. World community will only come to the table when there are so many of them being packaging and sent to La Republic in different format. That is when they're going to come to the table. They will not come to the table when we are speaking the same tongue and the same language. They take us for joker. We are not for joker. We are not. We are not. Yeah, we are not. So package them, put them in different format, in different layer. Take out the oxygen, return them back unoxygenated. Yes. Take them, remove the oxygen, send them back to La Republic unoxygenated. Because once you send them unoxygenated and they can't have the oxygen, because I know what you know how to do it. Take them, remove the oxygen, repackage them, send back to La Republic. And then when you have so many of them that have been sent to La Republic without oxygen, then that's when the world community will come to the table and realize that we mean business. Because when we speak, they don't take us credible. They don't believe in us. But we have to take actions. That is what they will take us credible. Because once we deactivate their oxygen, once we deactivate their oxygen and they no longer have oxygen to breathe, then is when the international community will come on the table. Because when they do it in Switzerland, it's just a joke. They think that when they do that, we are going to surrender and just allow everything to become so that they can come back and tell us, oh, we have got this. No. Take them, deactivate their oxygen, package them into cartons, return them back to La Republic. And once they start report the number of people that we deactivate their oxygen, then that is when they will realize, take us serious. That is what we should be doing. And that is why I guarantee all the Amazonians, that all the Amazonian defense system, especially those in Kumba and Kumbo, you all see, they go take farmers' food in Kumba, seize farmers their food items, and ask them to come on Monday for an auction sale. What a wonderful disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. That they will go and take up farmers their food items and send a radio communique. And I warn those radio, when you get those rubbish, especially those radio, they call the Lake City Radio of Kumba, the Ocean City Radio of Kumba, the Cavalry Good News Radio of Kumba. Those are the TV, they want to send the message to come and get the food item they collected from our citizens, and that they should take the communique and come on Monday to buy the food they seize. And they has given two options to sell it. For the farmers, I could imagine those mothers, they are pain, they are suffering, going to harvest those food. Some even travel several days. Some not even sure whether the food they sold is going to yield them any profit because of the time constraint, the naked of the road, the worst still unpassable roads. And they could stay about 2 weeks. And they got those little food they got. and they keep it somewhere to sell, just to feed their children, because they never thought about La Republic, that they're going to think that they will one day come to their assistance. And yet, the colonial officer will deliberately, intentionally get those food that has been kept somewhere safe and call them to come for an auction sale. I am here to remind the world that our people are more better off. We were better off than La Republic. We are better off to live ourselves than to have La Republic in our midst. We are better off. We are better off to be on ourselves than to have La Republic in our midst. And that is why I am sure that, because I know my mother, I know my little sister, because some of them have graduated from school. They don't have food to eat. But what they can do is to travel to the local farmer and harvest some plantains, some cassava, some yam. And that's what they generate. They couldn't sell them. They kept somewhere. And a colonial governor or colonial divisional officer went terrorize those market areas, collect the food that they never provide assistance to the people of Southern Cameroon, and now ask them to come on Monday for an auction sale for the food they never grow, for the food they never bought, for the food they never provide. And yet they want to auction them to use it in Southern Cameroon. I am here to remind the world the injustice that they impose upon the people of Southern Cameroon. I am here to remind the world that our people shall overcome this injustice that they impose upon the people of Southern Cameroon. That they should come and collect the meat. They should come for the meat auction sale. Where did they buy meat? Does meat exist in La Republic? For those in Banso, dear people of Banso, I can never be more. Those in Banso, in Kumba area, I love you very dearly. We are together in this business. We are almost there. Victory belongs to us. For those in Gokutunja, I love you so dearly. Victory is already at hand. We just have extra mile to go. We are already at victory. Victory is already. But we have to be very smart and vigilant, because the way we tackle these enemies that have infiltrated our land, but we are capable to take them off from oxygen. Oxygen is what keeping them in our Southern Cameroon territory. But if we begin to take them, deactivate the oxygen that is keeping them breathing, then that is the way moving forward. Fellow brothers of the Mesam Division, fellow brothers of the Mesam Division, I thank you for the work that you guys have been doing. We are all in the same journey, and we are walking in the same journey. We cannot in any circumstances live together with La Republic. It's a terrorist government of La Republic, and they practice the French system that has infiltrated our people, destroyed our moral and our objective value. But in time soon, we shall deactivate them out of Southern Cameroon and immediately deactivate the oxygen they've been breathing in Southern Cameroon. Because we, as soon as we deactivate their oxygen and they no longer have different oxygen to breathe, then they will begin to package them and send back to La Republic. And that is when we can be able to reactivate our own oxygen, because we don't need La Republic to be able to live together. I can assure you that this strong spirit we must overcome. And those in the Batibo area, I can thank you more than ever before. We have reached the high optimum level for our freedom and our liberty. But they cannot impose upon us. But I can assure you, if I didn't call your village, it doesn't mean that I know your village. But all of us stand strong more than ever before. For those in Upper Ngemba, for those who live in Upper Ngemba in the Northwest region, we are all more than a conqueror. We are capable to eliminate. So by deactivate oxygen for these foreign people that came to destroy our fundamental value, we are capable to move forward. And so those of the Upper Ngemba, when I talk of Upper Ngemba, Santa Mbe, Akum, Santa, all those are called the Upper Ngemba area. So we must deactivate the oxygen that are being instituted to the Republic against our own people. So we must deactivate their oxygen and begin to package them and send back to the Republic. As we deactivate the oxygen and package them and send to the Republic, that is when they're going to know that we are serious. That is when the international community will acknowledge our seriousness. For those in Manimen, for those in Saffo Division, I know there are some people recalcitrant in Saffo that they still believe that we are still under La Republic. But I am here to assure the Amber. I am here to assure, I know the top general of the Ambazonia defense system are heading to Saffo, but I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. I know you guys are capable to deactivate. As soon as you get to Saffo, those individuals that they pretend that they can control, but it will become a point that they don't even have anywhere to escape route. Once you reach Saffo and you make a surrounding, swiftly and immediately execute a plan. We must overcome. We have been using the stroke of a pen. We have been using a pen. We write, but unfortunately, ink doesn't make any sense at this moment. It is the sound of a bayonet that makes sense. The sound of a bayonet, that's what makes sense. The ink doesn't make sense to the international community. Because when you write, the thing you're just a jovial, just another part of writing. But when you use the sound of a bayonet, and then we begin to package them in different formats and put them in different package systems, and after deactivate their oxygen and send to the Republic, that is when they will acknowledge that we are serious. Because once we deactivate those oxygen and they no longer have oxygen to breathe, that is when they know that the people of Southern Cameroon mean business. Because we have used ink, and ink doesn't take us to anywhere. They take the ink and put somewhere in their drawer, and they don't believe that we are capable. So let's use the sound of a bayonet so that everyone will know we hear the sound, because you're going to activate them too as well. You're going to wake them from slumber. You're going to let them know that the people of Southern Cameroon mean business. Fellow brothers and sisters, we are at war, and the war is now. We cannot have our brothers, our sisters, and they can become miserable because we have a certain terrorist government that is being destroy our fundamental value. If ink is no longer of value to international community, then we use the sound of a bayonet, because that will activate them and will make them to sit up that something is wrong somewhere else. And at the same time, we immediately deactivate their oxygen. Because once we deactivate their oxygen, they no longer have oxygen to breathe. Then that is when they know that the people of Southern Cameroon is serious and that they mean business. So this is the moment I can assure you. Once the Amber defense surround Boya, then you're going to hear from us. It is. So I want to avoid all those fighting. I can appreciate all the collaboration that is going on. Please, let's forget about negativeness. Let's stand and face the enemy. When you have an enemy, those individuals from La Republic that infiltrate us and posting rubbish, when you see those things, deactivate them right on your Facebook, because that's what I'm doing is the same. They tend to create animosity amongst us, but we're not going to take those for an answer. We deactivate them from our midst and stay focused. The enemy, we must render them redundant. Fellow brothers, stay tuned for further plan. I love you, Kumba. Once more, those from Kumba. You know that I said, take the oxygen off. And so too, Roger, the oxygen needs to be deactivated. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
This is for you. Read till the end. It's adorable. Post box. I sent an angel to watch over you last night, but it came back and I asked, why? The angel said, angels don't watch over angels. 20 angels are in your world. 10 of them are sleeping, 9 of them are playing, and 1 is reading this message. God has